Chester and AJ arrive in the level called the Classroom of Doom. On top of the desks, which function as floating platforms, they notice a mob of janitors with brooms running below them. Chester explains that this is apparently the video game's translation of the concept of failing the class, which means spending the rest of their lives as janitors. In this case, if they don't get through this level, their lives are effectively over. Just then, Timmy finally catches up to them on this very level. He tries to convince them to leave, but they refuse to abandon their excitement. Timmy cites that they're each down to 2 lives, which they don't take seriously since they don't know their life counts running out would mean real-life deaths as well. AJ questions if they disappear forever, they lose all their lives, and Timmy cannot find an answer to that. When Chester brags about still having all 3 of his lives, AJ jokingly pushes Chester off the desk and costs him that first life. Chester nearly tries to take revenge by throwing AJ off until Timmy stops him. Since willingly convincing them doesn't work, he decides their best bet is to work together. Before he can get into some big teamwork speech, they charge off and Timmy just bolts after them. Eventually, Cosmo runs out of ideas and Vicky realizes that all the plugs came out, much to he and Wanda's horror. When she plugs them back in and turns them all on, all the lights go out along with the power. Just when Wanda thinks all hope is lost, she finds Cosmo back in Timmy's room with another idea, which Wanda journals as Magnificent Day for Cosmo, of powering the video game by using a treadmill as the power supply. He is using a stake on a string suspended in front of him to help him keep his motivation up. As the boys approach the gateway to the last level, Timmy tries again to stop his friends from proceeding and tries to convince them to take the helmets off. When they ask why, Timmy's only preparation for a follow-up question is that he has to use the bathroom. However, they don't believe him, citing that he already did at 6:13. They then contest that there is only 1 level left, and they go into the portal leading to the final level, with Timmy going after them. Timmy and his friends find themselves in the middle of Timmy's living room, and he breathes a sigh of relief, assuming they are back in the real world. However, while AJ and Chester find this anticlimactic, Timmy realizes his helmet is still on, meaning they are still in the game. This means that they are on the last level after all. Suddenly, the living room turns red, and a fissure appears in the ground. The boss then comes out as a giant robotic Vicky. Timmy yells at them to take off their helmets at once, but Chester tells him to calm down since they all have 2 lives left, and then they all lose 1 life after Vicky crushes them with her foot. So they are all left with 1 life each. Robot Vicky then tries to run down Chester and AJ with her babysitter attack, which is a gigantic spike steamroller attached to her butt. Knowing that they will be gone forever, she succeeds. Timmy sprints into action and selflessly knocks Chester and AJ out of the way, sacrificing his last life by being crushed to death and reduced to ashes. Wanda is horrified to see on TV that Timmy has just lost his last life and is now gone forever, even though they still don't know what their life count running out means actual death. Chester and AJ can't help but marvel at Timmy's heroism, even if it is just a video game. However, just when all hope seems lost, Wanda notices Timmy's high score is still skyrocketing until it reaches 50 million. Just then, Timmy materializes as their boss level, good as new, and Chester and AJ deduce that sacrificing his last life for the 2 of them has miraculously won him enough bonus points for an extra life. Now that the 3 of them have been reunited, they ready themselves for battle, and Timmy sees a Cosmo coin floating near the ceiling, guarded by Robot Vicky. He and his friends team up to get the coin, using objects from the living room to protect themselves from Robot Vicky's attacks with AJ's help. Timmy reaches the Cosmo coin, which causes Cosmo to appear. Wanda takes over the generator. Timmy wishes for something to stop Vicky. Again, just big enough to work, which ends up being a front door appearing, along with his parents, who come in and dismiss Robot Vicky from her babysitting duties, causing her to scream in defeat and melt into a puddle of molten goo. Upon defeating the final boss, Timmy and his friends finally exit the game, and it shuts down just as the power comes back on. Vicky then barges into Timmy's room and yells at Chester and AJ to get out of the house, which they obey while saying quick goodbyes to Timmy. Vicky demands Timmy to rewire the house so she can finally watch her shows, but Timmy tricks her into putting on one of the VR helmets, saying that will put her right in the middle of her favorite programs. She takes his word for it and finds herself in what she thinks is Tetherball Channel, or the Shredderball Channel. Timmy collapses to the floor with laughter laughter as he watches Vicky's agony against the shredder balls, and Cosmo and Wanda return to their goldfish forms in the bowl, fail at an attempt hyphen instead they share a kiss, and the last thing that can be heard is Vicky's agony from her unfortunate encounter with the lobster Gertrude boss.